You are listening to the Hodges Huddle, where we discuss all things in the wide world of sports. Here's your KLSU sports team.
Welcome into the Hodges Huddle. I'm your host, Andre Champagne, and today we are joined by Raven Freeman and Jayton Smith. How are we all doing today?
Cool little Tuesday, you know.
Yeah.
Same as usual.
I'm okay. I'm fine.
Well, that's good. Hey, Raven has been going to class, so I'm proud. I'm proud to say, hey, we're week, what are we, week 3 now?
Week 3, yeah.
Week
This is
3
week
now,
3?
and
I haven't
Raven is
missed a
still
class.
going to class.
Andre, how many classes have you missed? Ooh. Dang.
That's for another podcast. But we just wrapped up the second to last weekend of football of the year as the stage is now set for Super Bowl 58. We're going to get a rematch of Super Bowl 54 as this year's Super Bowl will feature the Kansas City Chiefs once again, and the San Francisco 49ers. We're not going to give an entire preview of this game as we're going to do that on this weekend's show as well as next week's podcast. But let's talk about the two games and how they kind of shaped up. Kansas City Chiefs shut down the Baltimore Ravens this weekend. Obviously, Ravens a little mad by a score of 17-10 behind a really great defensive performance. My first question for y'all is, what should Baltimore have done better on offense in order to score?
Prevented turnovers and protected the ball better. Going back to turnovers, they had 3, and 2 of them were in the red zone.
Mm-hmm.
That's 14 points right there. Also, the rush attack wasn't there, which is surprising considering the Ravens led the NFL in rushing during the regular season. On Sunday, they were held to 81 yards on the ground, and most of that was done by Lamar, sadly. So just a terrible performance overall.
Yeah, she kind of nailed all the points for me, especially the turnovers. I mean, when you look at it just from that standpoint, this was a very winnable game for Baltimore, and they just didn't capitalize. But I more so focus on the running game and just how they completely abandoned it. I mean, over the course of the season, they averaged 32 rushing attempts a game for 156 yards.
With different backs, too.
With different backs. And this past Sunday, they only ran the ball half as many times as that for 81 yards.
Look.
And on top of that, I just thought there were a couple opportunities for Lamar to, make something happen with his legs, pick up a quick 6 or 7 yards here and there. But I thought he was holding the ball way too long. And I mean, he's probably the best athlete on the field at any given moment. And the O-line was giving him ample time to make something happen. And at times, it just seemed like he just was too patient. And I think if he takes some of those 5 or 6 yard scrambles that the Chiefs were giving to him, then I think that also would have opened up the defense a little bit more.
Oh, for sure. Literally, you just took, the words right out of my mouth. And so did Raven, too. Like, she said that taking care of the ball, but specifically in the red zone, that is essentially, they still could have won this game. Granted, they had, another field goal, at least tied the game again with another touchdown. Obviously, the Zay Flowers issue, too. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
But I think that, like you said, if Lamar would have taken the smaller, the 3-4 yards gains that they really could have used at all these points, because the Chiefs were at ease all night on defense. And I think, Lamar's got to – I think he's a great quarterback. He's obviously going to win an MVP again. But I think you can't just be superhero all the time. You have to just take your wins while they come, especially against such a great defense like the Chiefs. But second, what was the problem for the Ravens on defense that led to Kansas City scoring pretty much handedly on the first few drives?
Little to no pressure on Mahomes, and then the simple answer is the secondary left Kelsey open way too much. Every time he's not being covered, he's going to find a way to come clutch, and that's exactly what he did on Sunday. He only had 1 touchdown, but he had
it was
11
a big
completions. Yeah, and it's just that was the issue.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, and back to that touchdown point, it was only 1, but I think, for me at least, that touchdown was kind of a
that got him going.
That got him going, and it was kind of an indication how the rest of this game was going to go, or at least the first half, because the first half, it seemed like Kansas City was doing just whatever they wanted to do.
Yeah.
And we saw that from the opening drive. I thought Baltimore was a little too over-aggressive. Kansas City's first play of the game, they run a screen pass, pick up 13 yards.
Yeah.
And then right after that, Isaiah Pacheco picks up 2 big chunk plays on the ground. So a little bit over-aggressive, and then when the pocket did break down, you've got to keep your eye on Travis Kelce, man. He is very witty. He's very slick. and he is going to find a way, some space on
beat
that
him.
field to get open. It's that simple. And Mahomes is going to find them every time.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, at the end of the day, Baltimore's entire defensive front, I was going to say, struggled with just getting pressure on Travis. He went the first 10 passes, which led to the start of the second quarter before he had an incompletion.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. And then another thing, Travis Kelce was 11 catches on 11 targets for 116.
Yep. As he's had just a disgusting season,
disgusting
by the way.
season. I mean,
I think, like, I might have been a little too high on the Ravens defense coming in. I talked about them on the Sunday show.
Yeah.
But they just couldn't get the pushes. And that kind of surprised me more so with stopping the Chiefs running game. Like you said, at the end of the game, when it came down to the Ravens getting a stop, they just couldn't do it. They literally could not stop Isaiah Pacheco. And I think they just struggled to tackle, and that ties in, like I said, with stopping Pacheco because he just wanted it more. It seemed like they wanted it more. And
he already run like he bite people.
Like,
you know? So,
like he steps on Legos or something. But what helped the Chiefs, I mean, be so successful on offense this past weekend, I guess, like creativity-wise, maybe?
I think you stay aggressive. I think that's honestly the best way to beat this San Francisco 49ers defense. I think they struggle with teams that do not play complacent. And as far as this Chiefs offense goes, I'm not worried about that one bit. I mean, we were talking about this on the Sunday show about how Andy Reid is one of the best coaching minds in football ever.
Yeah.
So I think you have to stay aggressive. You got everybody on the offense is healthy, ready to go. They're hungry, looking to do it again.
Yep.
And you really got to be on your A game because I'm sure there's a lot of guys on San Fran that are looking to get some revenge from, 3-4 years
Bosa.
ago?
Right.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
just stay aggressive, honestly.
For sure. What do you think, Greg?
As far as them being successful within this win, I mean, the first half, Patrick Mahomes played like his old self. He hasn't played like that all season, in my opinion. I mean, he was able to pick Baltimore's defense apart. I mean, the quick, slick passes he threw to Travis Kelce. I mean, and then also their time of possession on offense helped significantly.
Yeah.
Like one of their
like
drives
that.
lasted 9 minutes, and keeping Lamar off the field, and that was key to winning this game.
Yeah, I, that's a really good point that Raven makes. Like, not only were they efficient, but they literally had like 6-7 minute drives.
Right.
You know how demeaning that
They
is
had
to a
9
defense.
minute drive, I think.
You know
9-minute
how
drive,
demeaning that is to a defense that's already struggling, and then they get right back on the field because the Ravens' offense couldn't do anything.
Yeah, you know what's funny? I think honestly, it's like a tale of two sides of the coin. I think the first half, the story was the Ravens' defense and how they were kind of getting pushed over and bullied.
Right.
And I think the second half, it was their offense not capitalizing.
Yeah,
Just simple boneheaded mistakes. Zay Flowers
turnovers,
picking up a turnover,
Throwing
picking
a
up a
triple
time
coverage.
call,
Yep.
touchback out of the end zone. Lamar throwing a pick in the triple coverage. I don't even know why Isaiah.
I think that's
called for the
I mean,
ball.
first that's unlikely,
Yeah.
but second you got to read the D a little better.
And it is on like your triple. You do not put your hand up.
Yeah,
but
bro.
ultimately, you're the one who makes the decision to throw the ball out there.
Isaiah likely must have thought he was like prime Rob Gronkowski or
Randy
something.
Moss or something.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, my next question is: do you think this is such a crazy question that we're asking so early in his career? But do you think Patrick Mahomes is on his way to be better than Tom Brady?
I
know
do.
it's-
Yeah.
Okay.
You do?
I mean, he's breaking nearly the same
Yeah.
record statistic-wise as Brady, just at an earlier stage in his career, which is insane because he has a lot of more seasons in the NFL to play.
A lot.
I mean,
a lot.
yes, Brady has more rings, but he didn't even win MVP into his 8th season when Patrick Mahomes has won twice in his 6 or 7 years of playing football. As time progresses, I definitely think Mahomes will earn the new title of the GOAT. Plus, Mahomes has no cheating scandals. That's why I'm
That is
so
true.
against Brady.
Plus, I mean, Mahomes is doing this with a bunch of scrubs.
Right, that is
Not
true.
scrubs, but like, bro, his
They
best
don't-
receiver
they're
is
not-
Rasheed Rice.
They're not eye popping. You don't look
Yeah.
at.
And like Tom Brady had that at points too. Like he made Julian Edelman, he made like Wes Welker, all those guys a little better than they actually were.
Yeah.
But
But he also had Deion Branch. He had a Randy Moss.
He had a Randy Moss,
Rob
yeah.
Gronkowski. So.
exactly, and I mean he's got Travis Kelce too.
Yeah.
So
But also, I vividly remember Brady doing a whole lot with Sony Michel coming out of the backfield, and
That is true.
Danny Woodhead. So I will say
Yeah,
that to give credit
Rex
where it's
Burke.
due. Exactly.
yeah,
But as far as the GOAT thing, I wouldn't be opposed to it, and
Mhm.
the reason why is because I saw this on Twitter or X or whatever, because obviously the topic was trending after the game, and it it was kind of like after Jordan won or completed his first three-peat, and he said a lot of people from that time period had already crowned him the GOAT because even though Magic, Larry, Russell, Wilt, whoever had more rings, when you cut the tape on and you look at the game, that was enough for them to stop lying to themselves. Like, I don't care how many rings you got, I'm looking at this player.
Consistency, too.
And this guy is simply just better. Like, and honestly, I completely agree. I think Pat Mahomes is one of the most just God-gifted, talented quarterbacks ever. And if I'm picking, or if I'm making a team, I'm probably taking Patrick Mahomes
with his
over Tom
ability
Brady.
to improvise.
He had, like, the guy can do everything, and the guy is not. He doesn't move like his feet is in quicksand.
Right.
Also, so
Right. And I'll say, like, Tom Brady played in the NFL when it was a different time. Like, right, it was a different game.
Yeah.
At then where you really didn't have to like really scramble. He was great at getting the ball out really quickly, kind of like Drew Brees. But now that it's just not that game, and I feel like if you put prime Brady in today's game, man, I think he would struggle. And you really already did. I mean, you kind of did.
You
Look
saw
at
his
last
numbers,
year.
His numbers from
or 2
his
years
last
ago.
season. His numbers were pretty good. I want to say
They were
did he
all
throw
right.
for 5,000 yards?
No. He had 4,200 or something like that.
4,200 yards. But I don't know. I think Brady might have been even better in this. Ooh, I don't know.
I don't know, man.
Because his throwing ability it's always been there, but it's just his improvising ability. I think that would have, because now nobody's looking for a quarterback that just sits in the pocket for 8 seconds.
Like, look at Mac Jones right now.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how Brady struggled his last years on the Bucs. I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
Things change.
I agree with Raven.
Yeah.
But I personally think when it's all said and done, easily, Patrick Mahomes will end up he's going to be the best player of all time. And that's just because he's done this consistently every year. No matter how good his receivers were, no matter how his defense looked, he just always gets it done. And I'll say that's a big credit to Andy Reid, too. Because, I mean, that guy can create offense out of life.
It's really just cool to see this stuff happening live
while we're alive
to see it, because I could not imagine watching Michael Jordan complete 2 3-peats or watching Brady.
Literally the whole entire Bulls team.
I honestly just could not imagine.
The closest to that would have been that Warriors team.
Yeah.
And
even then, I don't
think they were on that caliber of That's another
top
time. But we're gonna briefly talk now about this Lions and 49ers game, as the 49ers completed a 17-point comeback to move on to another Super Bowl in their first since 2020. First off, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Dan Campbell goes for it twice. Once while he's down 24-27. I think it was just
up 24-27.
Up 24-27. And then another time in the first half. Another time. and so should he have kicked it both occasions, or
he should have kicked it the first time? And it's funny. I was watching it happen. I was watching the game with friends, and every time situations like that come about, we always kind of ask each other, like, what would you do here? And the general consensus was, I kicked this field goal, make it a 3-possession game. Just give yourself a little bit more cushion.
And he did it right before half.
And he did it right before half.
On the 2-yard line.
And deep down, I knew, like, there's no way Dan Campbell is kicking a field goal on a 4th and 2. It's just not going to happen. And all throughout this season, I said this after watching the Cowboys game, the game that the crazy ref call, whatnot, the offensive lineman didn't check in.
2-point conversion.
Yeah. And he went for 3 straight times?
3 straight times on the 14-yard line.
On the 14-yard, and I said this, like, that's going to come back and bite them in the postseason. And sure enough, it did. Even with Jahmyr Gibbs fumbling the ball, I still feel like the Lions did enough to win this football.
I completely agree.
And I think him going for it twice, he was trying to blow the game out of the water, and I think in trying to do that, he ended up almost
losing
taking
every
them out
momentum.
of the game.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes coaches, think too much about, let me get more separation. Let me just create
let me make this win look good.
Let me make this win look good, and let me really just kind of put the nail in this coffin. But I think sometimes coaches forget that the other side to that is you're almost taking them out of the game, and you're keeping a team like San Fran in it, who
with all those weapons.
All they needed was one touchdown to see, all right, we're gonna keep rolling.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's almost like a domino effect.
Yeah, I guess I agree. What do you think, Raven?
I mean, he said in the post-game press conference that it was his fault. He made a mistake, but it's like it's so irritating because this Lions team has come so far and their fan base is so supportive, and that was the reason that they lost that game. And it's just irritating because as a head coach, those are simple decisions that you make. So I was looking at it like, how kind of could you? Like, I felt kind of betrayed because it's such an easy call to make, and he messed it up.
He shot them right in the foot.
Yeah, he did.
Shot them out of this
game.
Did.
I agree. And I love Dan Campbell. All of us know, like, we have been so high on Dan Campbell for the last 2 years now.
A lot. Yeah.
And like his coaching style, I think it's elite. I think it works. But when you have a 17-point lead, you've got to take the points, especially when San Francisco was starting to move the ball and find their way.
Yeah.
I think there are levels to this sort of style that he's got, and you have to be smarter, especially when you've got like a Super Bowl on the line. My thing was, you wanted to take the points right before halftime when it was 4th and goal at the 2-yard line.
Why not?
You should have just gone for it right there.
Yeah. And look, if we lose a game,
because you're going to halftime right there.
Yeah.
If we lose the game and we kicked 2 field goals and we didn't leave 6 points on the board, you know what? So be it. We got outplayed.
Exactly.
But I don't want to go to sleep at night thinking, man, I should have kicked those field goals.
Yeah,
and I probably lost us this game.
Not to mention, I think on one of them, Josh Reynolds completely
dropped the
ball.
Yeah.
And I think some of that has to do with execution, which is very true. But again, you have to just you have to have the smart plays in order to win
I
that
forgot
game.
about Josh. He really
Josh
he
Reynolds
messed
sold
up. He
big
also
time.
dropped a ball on 3rd down, hit him dead in the
Right in
chest,
the chest,
in stride and everything.
I remember. It was like watching Keyshawn Booty. Like the first Florida State game, I was like, you cannot be serious. But Brock Purdy playing another underachieving game. Brock Purdy or Anna Fry. I don't know which one.
Can't tell the difference.
Can't tell the difference. Yeah. He actually knows about that too. But how does he have to play against such an elite Chiefs defense, and like moving 2 weeks from now?
He has to play his best football game he's ever played in his career, and I mean that in the most dramatic way possible. This Chiefs defense is tough. Like, a sack is not going to feel like a normal sack. It's going to hurt a little bit more. Interception is not going to be an interception. It's going to be a pick 6, which we all know he's good for. I also heard while watching the Chiefs game that the Chiefs defense has the highest percentage of swatted passes.
Oh, wow.
Purdy is good for that too. He has to play confident and careful, which I feel like it's too late in the season, obviously, for him to develop those characteristics. And it's been a real struggle for him all season already. So, I mean, the weapons around him have been carrying him, but this is a Super Bowl.
This
Chiefs team has looked like night and day from a couple weeks ago.
A great defensive coordinator knows what to do. I mean, he shut that Stag. He shut down Lamar's pretty much with a scheme. What do you think he's going to do to Brock Purdy, who folds under like actual pressure?
Yeah, because the Chiefs just beat the best team in the NFL. I mean, like, the Ravens were supposed to go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, they were
win.
dominant. Like the Ravens were dominant.
A couple weeks ago, we were like, oh, the Chiefs not gonna make it to the Super Bowl.
We're like first round exits.
Now look, they're on the way to the Super Bowl, and they're probably gonna. I'm not gonna jinx it.
Yeah, probably
They might
so.
do it.
They're gonna. No, like I'm
No, don't
I'm
say
just
they're
saying,
gonna.
They will.
Jeez.
And let me tell you why. Because Brock Purdy, his decision making is awful. It's like a high school quarterback who's got nothing to lose. In the second half, he played much better. I'll say that, but it's because his weapons they stepped up. And he's got
how many interceptions did he have? He had a couple.
I think he had one,
One or two.
but it was like he was about to get sacked, and he was like, "Hail Mary," and so
Somebody out there.
he was like, "Debo,
Go make a play.
Debo," because Juwan Jennings ain't going out there making a play. I know Brandon Ayuk will, but he's just got to read defenses better. And an elite defense like the Chiefs, they're gonna pull so many things with their cards. I just think like an elite defense is gonna win you championships. That's always going to be. I mean, that's always going to be a kind of like a recurring theme, and we're gonna see that again. I'm sorry, we will.
Yeah.
Like it.
Yeah,
It's sad.
I couldn't agree more, and I think that's going to be the story of this game. I mean, this Chiefs defense is stifling, and it's almost scary because it's in recent years, it's been the complete opposite. It's always been the offense carrying most of the load, and their defense was able to get 1 or 2 stops to give them separation and pull away. Boom, you win the game. But I think in a predicament like this, You have an inexperienced quarterback. You have a quarterback that's already very turnover prone, trigger happy, and even the miraculous catch that Brandon Ayuk had in
Dude,
the
that was
in the
straight luck.
championship
That
game.
could have been an interception.
That was straight. I was
Yeah.
just going to say
Yeah.
that. If Brandon Ayuk doesn't almost kind of get his body into the defender, that was an interception, and we wouldn't have even been talking.
Well,
about
yeah,
that.
if he didn't tip it in the first
if he
place.
didn't tip it in the
exactly.
first place.
Yeah, I was about to say if he
I
was.
mean, he overthrew him by like 3 yards.
Literally give you the summary of the Lions' defensive backs in one play. There you go.
In a nutshell.
There
and
you
then
go.
you got CJ. Oh my gosh, what an idiot.
Yeah,
But
yeah, exactly.
yeah, I think that's going to be the story of this game. I think the Chiefs are going to pull a whole lot of strings, and I think they are really going to show
just
Brock
the better
Purdy,
coach.
like,
Yeah.
you're just not built for this. Man.
Yeah, it's true.
Sorry.
I mean, yeah. You got anything to add?
I mean, I'm just scared because I don't want the Chiefs to
Scared?
win.
Scared.
I don't want the Chiefs to
I don't want
win.
either one of them to win.
Yeah, I hope
And
Usher
just
wins
feel like this
this
is
week.
Going to
I mean,
be
next weekend.
a waste of a Super Bowl because
It's gonna. I think it's gonna be a good Super Bowl.
I think it's gonna be a
No.
good game.
I
Yeah.
don't know how Brock Purdy's going to perform, and like I keep relating back to that 3-loss streak.
Straight.
they
Kyle
had
Shanahan
was-
is a great offensive mind for a reason. He's gonna get things going. I mean, he did it. He didn't do it in the first half last week, but he will.
but a quarterback
get it.
make or breaks a team.
Oh, I get that,
And he
and
will
that's
be-
why I'm saying they won't win the game, but I think it'll be close. But
I don't know.
But we're gonna move on. We're gonna talk about this LSU women's basketball team. 2 straight losses, y'all. But we're gonna talk about last week. We're not even gonna talk about this Mississippi State game because I think that was just.
Oh yeah.
I think that's one just tally off. Like forget about it. But starting off with that team, what did last week's performance against South Carolina kind of tell you about this team, in terms of, I guess, potential?
Me personally, of course, like I was upset, mad,
Yeah,
whatever,
yeah.
the typical emotions of a fan.
I mean, you held
But-
the lead for
but
37 minutes.
For 37 minutes. But after about 30 minutes, I said to myself, we're going to be all right. We're going to be just fine.
like
That was my exact.
It's just a
thought.
few small things that we need to clean up.
Mhm.
Michaela Williams didn't play well, jacked up way too many shots, and I thought we didn't have really good clock management either. I didn't like the way that they managed the clock with Angel coming in, knowing she had her 5th foul. I thought that should have been the moment where they thought we're going to slow this game down,
Yeah. Create some
offense. And I just thought, look, man, it's just the little things. I think it also showed me that South Carolina can be beat, but
Oh,
it
for
is
sure.
going
Oh,
to
yeah.
take all 40 minutes of execution to beat this team.
Oh,
And
yeah.
oh man, the thing that made me mad the most about the game though is to end the first and second quarter,
The
they give up
threes.
2 threes.
You don't even put a hand.
And after the first
Oh,
one,
yeah.
I said, this is gonna be a problem.
Yeah.
Shooting too early within the shot clock, again, bad clock management.
It kept their momentum because
Kept
they
their
had
momentum.
absolutely none.
Exactly. Instead of going into half down 8, now they're down 5. And a two possession score, boom, the game swings just
Yeah.
like that. So
Mhm.
I was happy that they were able to stay on top of them for as long as they did. But the minute Angel picked up her 5th foul, you could just tell, like, this is
They were done.
This is about to
Yeah.
get ugly.
They were done.
That was my exact point because I've been talking about how the unity on this team has been lacking, and I feel like this is a big game. They knew that, and I feel like I saw them all come together as one on the court.
Yeah.
But as soon as Angel fouled out, they just seemed so defeated, and that's
Just
no
slow,
excuse
yeah.
for blowing a lead and somehow.
And I think the
That's-
fans were defeated a little bit too. I mean,
Yeah.
you could tell the reaction by the
Yeah.
crowd seeing Aaliyah Del Rosario coming into the game. Like,
Yeah.
even me,
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
knew,
You
like,
were just
this
worried.
is not about to end
And she
well.
played some quality minutes in the
Yeah.
first half.
I think she-
Second
yeah.
half, I mean,
The
you gotta-
second half,
you gotta
she
give
was
it to
just- She was just
Cardoso.
out there.
you got to give it to Cardoso.
Yeah.
She was going off.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's where Angel's experience comes in, is on that rebounding.
Exactly.
And there was a possession where I think South Carolina pretty much determined the game because they got a 3 from it. They got like 4 back-to-back offensive rebounds
Yeah.
on the same possession. But
We didn't play nearly as well as we did in the first half.
Yeah.
And part of that was we didn't.
you
control
couldn't
the
play
points.
aggressive with the foul
Couldn't play
trouble.
aggressive.
Right.
And I also thought the Stars went cold. Or not cold, but a little bit of stagnant. Angel had a really nice stretch in the second quarter, and I didn't see them look for her again, maybe until the third quarter.
Yeah.
And the same thing with Anissa. Anissa started off hot, 10 points in the
Oh,
first
yeah.
quarter. And I don't think she started
She had
touching the ball
the
again
foul
until the
trouble.
fourth
Yeah,
quarter.
after
So
the- yeah.
That's
you
what
just
happens.
cannot have little lapses like that.
Yeah, and I'll say like the depth in the starting lineup should keep them in any game, like literally
Yes.
any
I
game.
agree. Yeah.
Yes.
And that goes for tournament games too. I
Yes.
just think LSU's got to do a better job with keeping the momentum
Mm-hmm.
and then staying on the gas. I think they let South Carolina stay around in the game too long, and that became to be a little conservative on offense, and that came back to hurt them, like you said.
Yeah.
So, I mean, do you think this team is still capable of competing for a national title?
Yeah, I think it's gonna take them getting beat by 20 or something to make me think otherwise. Because I and it might be a little bit of delusion, like Raven told me yesterday, but I keep telling myself all we need to do is get in, and we get in.
You get hot.
I don't think
they get hot.
I don't think any team wants to see us in that tournament.
Yeah, you're right.
Believe it or not, all we need to do is get in, and who knows, we might even get a good bracket. If we get a good bracket, we could easily find ourselves.
One of those kind of like weaker 1,
exactly.
2 seeds
We could easily
sure.
find ourselves back in the Elite Eight, back in the Final Four. So,
what do you think, Raven?
I did yesterday up until the loss against Mississippi State. I know we're not talking about them, but I mean, we were their first top 10 win since 2018.
Oh,
that is crazy. And our first back-to-back loss in 2 years.
22, I believe. 22.
And I did call Jaden delusional yesterday because I just don't see it. And, I don't know what y'all are seeing that I'm not.
Back.
But he was upset. But Mississippi State, I mean, that should have been an easy game.
I mean, yeah.
And then
but
here's 8 more games into the
easier
season.
on paper,
it looked
but
easier,
I looked at the game,
but when you look at a sold-out crowd every
were-
single time,
they were
man.
balling. I mean, they had one girl.
They shot
sorry,
50% from the field goal and 50% from three. That's the best game they'll play this season.
And don't get me wrong.
And props to Mississippi State. Y'all can probably, if y'all play like that the entire season, which is, I mean, that's going to be difficult.
It
Yeah.
is gonna be difficult.
I mean, hey, you might have a chance of going knock out some people and getting a good seeding.
Yeah.
And
we said this before. It looked like one of those games that a defending champion plays. You're going to get everybody's best shot. I mean, it literally looked like they couldn't miss, man.
But see, that's my point. Everyone's going to be playing LSU like Mississippi State did. Sold out stadium, blase.
So you would
that's how
think
it is when
that
you're playing
they
the
get better.
defending
But we
national
also didn't play
championship.
well either. I mean, we shot 44% from the field and 21% from three.
a lot of
But that
turnovers,
shouldn't
by
be
the
A
way.
lot of turnovers.
a problem.
Oh, my gosh. Point guards.
We'll
And
talk
I-
about
and-
this next question. Don't worry. I'll say, after watching them this week, I think it's still in their cards. I get that was a bad loss last night.
Yeah.
I think they just have to get hot at the right time, and they've got to get quality minutes off the bench.
Yeah.
Yeah, Poa is going to have to score. You're going to have to get better minutes from Del Rosario. You can't just be a body on the court. You just can't. You can't do that.
Cone.
Honestly, I'm trying to figure out what it reminds me of, as in the Pelicans related, but I really can't find
good starting five, lack
with
of bench.
with just or just
they
I can't-
remind me of.
I can't think of it.
They kind of remind me of. I'm trying to think of a championship. They remind me of the Phoenix Suns from last year. The Phoenix
That's
Suns.
true.
You had Devin Booker, you had Kevin Durant,
And you had nobody.
DeAndre Ayton, and
Yeah.
you had me and Andre coming off the bench. So,
And that's generous.
and that's generous.
Nah, yeah. But let's see. With let's say what improvements need to be made over those next few weeks before, and like you said, I want you to go.
I'm not trying to be funny when I say this, but for our point guards, and I use that term loosely, they need to be doing a lot of ball handling drills in
guards,
practice. Yeah, I'm gonna just say guards because
Say
there's
guards.
nothing point guardy about these point guards.
Yeah,
They need to be doing some ball handling drills because it is no reason
you should be losing
that
the ball.
you should be losing the ball. It's no reason somebody should be giving you a little bit of ball pressure and you don't know what to do.
And you're backing them down
you
at
backing
half
them
court,
down,
bro.
You backing them down. I'm jumpy. Oh no, I want to get the ball out of my hands. You throwing the ball away because you don't want the ball in your hands because
Yeah. You don't got
know how to
confidence.
deal
Yeah,
with
exactly.
pressure. That's ridiculous, bro. This is stuff that you learn in middle school, bro.
Hey, that looked like me back in the day, 8th grade, St. Ignatius, man. Keon Coleman was pressing me. And
Shout
let's
out
just
Keon
say
Coleman.
let's just say I turned the ball over at least 8 times.
At least
that
8
game.
times, maybe over or under 8.
Our star player had the flu, so we lost by 50 that game.
Sheesh. But yes, man. And I think, look, they need to be better handling the ball, and they need to be better just creating shots for themselves. And also,
outside the
when they set screens, set a good screen.
Yeah,
when you set a screen, the person you're setting the screen for
Don't
is
just
supposed to
stand
come
there.
off
Yeah.
of your shoulder. You're not supposed to set a screen, just stand there and then hope that they run into you. No, you're supposed to get into the defender. That kind of defeats the whole purpose if you're not doing that. And also, I want to see them run more sets.
Yep.
There's too many times I see Haley Van Lith bringing the ball to the court, just going
And
right
then-
to
and
left,
then you
right
see
to left,
Yeah.
and then she picks
10
a
seconds
side.
left, and you just
Exactly.
throw it up to
Yeah.
You
Angel.
just throw it up.
Yeah. What do you think?
I mean,
Yeah.
they need to tighten up their defense. The lack of
Yep.
defensive stops is the prime reason they lost the 2 games they did to me.
Yep.
I agree.
Also,
The timely stops. I like that.
yeah.
Yeah.
The team's chemistry needs to improve. I know I keep talking about this, but I mean, Angel Reese said it herself. Talent wins games, but teamwork wins championships. And there's no
Absolutely.
sense of unity on this team. I feel like there are some undercover locker room issues that we don't know about.
Could be.
Well, you lost like 2 players. Well, you lost 1 player, and then one of your star players gets injured. I'm sure
But I
there's
just
going to be a
thought
lot.
on this 16-game winning streak, we were getting better. But it's like I just feel like we're starting to crumble, and that's where I come back and say I don't know if we're going to be able to
Yeah,
win.
there's
a
definitely a
natty,
lot
'cause
of
Hey,
there's
pressure
little
builds
definitely
on.
panics
something.
there.
Yeah, there's definitely something going on that we don't know about. That's not happening on the court.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, like Jaden said, I think the ability to score outside of the paint needs some real work. Real work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When the offense goes cold, for sure. And I think that you have to cut more and work on creating more offense for the guards. The
Yeah.
guards can't just stand there.
Exactly. And also,
And like you said, get the ball out of Liv's hands. That she's not a true point guard. You can't force somebody.
yeah,
And I get it. She has to learn the game at some point. But you've tried.
you're a grad student.
You've tried.
man.
You've tried.
Yeah.
And so I think you've got to get the ball in Michaela Williams' hands. And she's
Yes.
more of a true point guard if you think she's just a big guard.
And honestly, I don't know how ridiculous this may sound, but I was thinking, like, I honestly wouldn't be opposed to maybe bringing Haley off the bench or something, because somebody on this bench
Has to play D.
Has to play
Oh,
defense.
man.
Somebody has to be
Her
a
defense is
scoring
bad.
option, bro.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to do something. And then one more thing that I took away from the game last night is they've got to do a better job at guarding the 3-point line.
Yeah, that's something that's stuck around for a while
Yeah.
now. But we're going to finally talk a little bit about the NBA. I'm going to ask y'all, it's midseason now, almost time for All-Star weekend. I want to ask your midseason MVP, as well as Rookie of the Year right now, and then your Coach of the Year. So let's go with MVP. This should be, honestly, like
Unanimous.
unanimous.
Yeah, for MVP, I'm going to go with.
Dang,
I'm going to go
Are
with.
you going to go different than me?
I want to say Joel Embiid, but the whole thing about him
Missing all
may
these
not
games?
even be eligible, because
Yeah,
you
you're
got to play
right.
65 games,
He's
and
got-
I think
he
he
got
only
2
has
more.
like 6 left.
Oh, yeah, he's about it.
So I want to. Okay, I'm gonna pick Joel Embiid,
Mm-hmm.
but in the back of my mind, I'm thinking Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Okay.
I mean, the Thunder are second in the West. He's averaging 30 a game.
Okay.
They're way ahead of schedule, but my pick right now would have to be Joel Embiid. I mean, averaging 36 points a game is just lunacy.
That's crazy.
I mean,
yeah.
he scored 30 straight, and I want to say 18 straight.
He also
games.
scores 70. I mean,
Yeah.
just for that, you should.
just a light
yeah.
70.
So I'm gonna go LeBron.
What?
What?
LeBron is always my pick.
I mean, that's never a bad choice.
I mean, I feel like he
Safe pick,
continues
yeah.
to play games like he did on Saturday against the Warriors as the oldest player in the NBA. I
Yeah.
feel like that also puts him on a pedestal. Those don't get overlooked.
It's a good pick, but my thing is usually when an MVP candidate's team is bad,
Yeah.
they never go with that
yeah,
person.
and I think from the Lakers, if I pick anybody, it'd be AD, just because
Glass.
I've seen them play without LeBron, and I've seen them play without AD this season, and they are god awful when
Without
Anthony
AD.
Davis is not on
That
the
is
court.
true.
Yeah, I'm going Joel right now. I mean, averaging 36, 11, and 6 is crazy. What Jokic is doing too is amazing. I think he's like 28. He's near a triple-double average. But for me, I mean, 8 more points averaging, that's a lot. And
He averaged
also-
33 last year,
Yeah,
and then he's making that look like just light.
yeah, like baby numbers.
Yeah.
yeah. But next, Rookie of the Year. This should be, honestly,
If you would have asked me
Should
this a
be
month ago,
unanimous.
I would have said Chet,
Yeah.
just because Chet looked really good. And
it's
so
close.
did-
I think it's
and so
close.
did
I think
Wemby.
it's close. Yeah.
But I think Wemby is starting to pull away a little bit, and especially when I saw them match up the other day.
oh, yeah, it was full. That was cool.
It was definitely fun to watch, but Wemby is averaging, 20, 11,
20,
3 blocks a
10,
game.
yeah.
3 blocks a game, and he's clearly the number one option on his team. And I honestly think he could average 25, 26
If they got him more.
with the right distributor, because Jeremy Sochan is not a point guard by any means. I mean, there's times where he's literally looking at Wemby. Not even just him, the entire Spurs team,
yeah.
because, they get more national
You got
television
Mitchell.
games this year.
I mean, these guys.
There's times Victor has a 6'8" forward on him with his hands all the way in the air, and they just don't even try.
Literally,
to
you just gotta have to lob it up to him. I mean, he's getting the ball.
I'm gonna go with Chet.
Whoa.
I mean, because like you guys said, it's close, and I just feel like he's pulled this OKC team out of a funk. I mean, boosting their efficient scoring and how impactful he's been on defense stands out to me amongst all
He's
the
a
other
great
rookies.
shot blocker.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he's a great defender.
Yeah.
I gotta go Wemby too.
Yeah.
I think both of them are a safe pick
Yeah,
right
I think
now.
it's neck and
Like
neck.
it's literally gonna come down to like one of the last games of
Yeah.
the season. But right now I'm gonna go Victor just because he's averaging a double with 20 points. I think Chet's averaging 17 and 7.
Yeah.
So it's like really close.
Right.
It reminds me a little bit of the LeBron and Melo Rookie of the Year race, just because, one guy's looked at as kind of being the savior of this franchise, the future of the NBA, and I also think Wemby is asked to do way more for the Spurs. I mean, Chet is also playing alongside a guy that's averaging 30, and another guy that's averaging, I want either just below 20 or right at 20 in Jalen Williams. So
I like that. Let's do Coach of the Year now.
For Coach of the Year, I'm gonna go with Ty Lue.
Clippers.
Yeah. James Harden first got there. I think they lost like 5 or 6 straight. They were bad, but just took a little time for them to get accustomed to playing with each other, figure a few things out. I mean, Russ elected to come off of the bench.
That's leadership.
That's
man.
leadership, and obviously
Russ.
That's what was best for the team. And now you look at it, the Clippers almost look like they look
Finals
like
team.
They may be the best team in the NBA right now, from top to bottom.
I think they have the highest odds right now.
The highest odds, and I saw what they just went and did to Boston in the Boston Garden. I think they beat them by like 30. And
I watched them beat the Pelicans by 40.
Yeah. So the job that he's done with this team turned them around, because they didn't start off the season that great, and they looked even worse when Harden got there. So the job that he's been able to do with turning this team around, just before the All-Star break, and I think now the Clippers are just below first in the West. Yeah, I gotta give it to Tyler.
I like it. I like that pick.
I'm gonna go Chris French.
Okay.
I mean, I feel like the Timberwolves are playing like the number 1 seed, and I don't know about you guys, but I didn't see that coming. And I feel like he's the prime
that's a good team too, man.
Yeah, last year I was on record for saying like the Rudy Gobert trade is gonna go down in history as one of the worst trades ever.
Yeah.
Looks like I was wrong.
Yeah, I like that pick, Raven. Like the Timberwolves, and you saw them when Cat scored 62. I think he goes in there and he is so mad because they lost to the Hornets that night. And he was so mad. But like when a coach is that mad, he should be, right. Like that. That just kind of like shows how accountable he is and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I watched that game and I cut it on because I saw Cat had like 41 at half after Joel Embiid had just scored 70, and Cat kind of shot them out of that game. I mean, they were up 18-20 at one point, and Cat, you could tell, everybody in the crowd could sense it that he was going for as many points as he could. But you still have to keep in mind
play
the
defense.
whole objective of the game is to win, and
to play.
They didn't do a good job of that.
Yeah, if you can't play defense against the Charlotte Hornets, man, you got problems. I'm going Mark Daigneault of the Thunder because they're currently, I think they're either 1 or 2 seed right now, and they were in the play-in last year. So, I mean, that just tells you how much he's got the guys to buy in, and as well as coaching them up. I think he's a great X's and O's guy. I mean, this guy is really good at creating offense, and I mean, they're all young. So, I mean, this team is kind of like the Pelicans were like 3 years ago, but they have a higher ceiling.
Yeah,
they just
they're ahead of schedule.
Oh, for sure. But if you had to pick 2 teams right now to play in the finals in June, who would you go with?
I'd have to go with, out of the West, I'm gonna say the Clippers. I think just from top to bottom, they have everything. They got scores, they got depth, they have wings, they have experience to trump everything else.
They got smooth Paul George.
They got smooth Paul George. Even with James Harden on the team, I think they find a way to get to the finals. And from the East, I'm going to say Boston. Boston looks like just the best team from top to bottom. Early in the season, I was saying Milwaukee just because of the Dame trade, but they've got issues that they got to sort out. And I just don't see Doc Rivers
panning out,
leading this
team. He never
team,
really did.
Leading this team to the finals. That just never ends well.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Nuggets, Celtics.
Okay. I like that. I like that. I think the Nuggets are pretty good right now. They just have, I don't know, some depth issues
and
right now.
At times, they almost look like they're just coasting and just waiting.
Yeah, they're just like,
yeah.
they play lazy in some games, and I think that's like, I don't know, that just comes.
That might cost them.
It comes. But I'm gonna say the Clippers right now, and then I'm gonna go Bucks too. I think the Bucks are just gonna find a way to get in the final two. Celtics always find a way to choke. Like it's like
That's true.
it's like
That is true.
it's almost like a yearly thing. But it's time, y'all. It's time for the Pooper Broussard.
Pooper Broussard.
This weekly award, we haven't done this in a while, is given to the worst performance of the week, either by a coach, player, fan base, whatever it may be. So let's hear it. Who is your Pooper Broussard?
Boy, if I got one.
Oh, you gonna go first?
Oh, y'all are excited for this one.
Yeah, because I'm mad. So
I really forgot about this, but my Pooper Broussard is gonna have to go to Mr. Keyshawn Butte.
Ooh, that's a
Oh,
good
that's a
one.
good one.
Yeah.
I
That is a good
honestly
one.
was just reading report after report, and I literally couldn't believe
That
my
blows
eyes.
your
Like
mind.
it was just the wildest thing ever. How in the world are you
89.
you are a student athlete? And it's not like you're just a bench warmer that never gets in the
Nah.
game. No, you're a premier player on this team. You got scouts coming to look at you.
Yeah.
You're getting ready to go to NFL. How do you find the time to place 8,900
While you're in
bets?
college,
he
by
had the
the
time
way.
to
In
do a lot
college.
of stuff.
And then on top of all that, you're already doing something that's illegal. And you have to make a username. And your username
Is your
is
name.
Keyshawn Butte 7.
Yeah.
And for those that don't
0-1.
know, 01. And that was his jersey number. So,
Yeah.
Keyshawn Butte, you are my Pooper Broussard.
I mean,
of
let's
the
let's
week.
talk about that. 8,900 bets in 6
8,900
months.
bets in
You know, that's
6 months.
22 bets a day.
22 bets a
without
day.
sleeping, by the way. So, I mean, like that is crazy. Hey, he's a good bettor though. $500,000 in winnings.
Yeah, but he only came away with I think he ended up like $88,000 in the hole.
Yeah,
Because he didn't
I mean,
withdraw.
he didn't
most of the
withdraw
money.
it, so he lost it. Yeah, he ended up losing it. But look, hey, football might not work out for you, but you can go be a betting expert now.
Be a
Oh
good
my
bookie.
God.
I think he'd be a great. no.
He's just
I
throwing
don't-
his
I
whole
don't-
career
yeah.
away. I don't understand.
I don't know, but who are you going with? I'm kind of
So
curious.
I'm
for
gonna
this one.
go with all the NFL social teams, all the ESPN
Oh,
social
no.
teams, and all the Swifties.
They're gonna
Because
come
let me
for
tell
us.
you something. I'm so sick of Taylor Swift. I see Taylor Swift before every commercial break, after every time Travis Kelce
touchdown.
flashes across my screen. Why was I on the women's ESPN page and they were like, "Oh my gosh, Taylor has a show in Tokyo, but if she leaves it this time, she'll be able to make it to the Super Bowl." No one cares. Do you know who watches football? Sports lovers.
Taylor Swift
no
fans
one
now.
cares about Taylor Swift. I don't understand. And like you go to the NFL's comments and they're like, "I'm about to stop watching." Blase, blase. Okay, and that's gonna be true. So when your viewers drop because you keep showing this lady on my screen that no one that cares about the NFL
Hey,
cares about,
Their viewers are gonna go up. I feel like though.
No.
You know how big. You know how big the Swifties are.
They know what they're doing.
They know
And
what
I
they're
also
doing.
saw
Hey,
there was
the
this-
NFL has had low ratings for years now, and now with Taylor Swift, they probably had a spike
they're
this
gonna
year.
go
so.
back. I mean, yeah, to Spike, but it's like I'm so tired of seeing Taylor Swift.
Just wait till
Yeah.
Travis probably.
It was
saw
Jackson
on,
Mahomes. Now it's Taylor Swift.
Yeah, I saw on DraftKings there's this like thing you can bet
You
on
can-
of whether or not he's gonna
he
propose to her
proposes.
after the Super Bowl.
Oh no, because he didn't propose to Kayla Nicole, so I bet you he's not gonna propose to Taylor Swift. So if I were y'all, I would get that at y'all's
Facts,
head
he
right
lost
now.
a good one too.
I don't know.
before.
I might take the over.
Kayla Nicole's pictures are still on his Instagram. He does not like Taylor Swift. It's all for publicity. It's not romantic. It's not authentic. It's not any of that. So all the Swifties watching this right now, I need you to know that Travis Kelce is not going to propose to
Oh,
Taylor
we're gonna
Swift.
get hate. We're gonna get some hate on this one. Man, y'all had some fun ones.
Yeah.
And then I have Willie Green, the head coach of the Pelicans.
Tell us what he did.
Last several weeks, Pelicans have been horrible,
Yeah.
super inconsistent,
After
and I
starting
think
off so strong.
yeah, and
They
I think
were.
you got to blame Willie for not making any game adjustments at all as he watches us lose leads. We've lost I want to say 12 games that we've been up by double-digit points.
Oh wow.
Guys, that shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
Also, X's and O's. Like, is this guy? Are we sure that he can draw up something? But the rotation's also very questionable. New Orleans might have to just get a new, better, younger hire. So for this week, Willie Green, you are my poo-poo Broussard of the week.
It could be worse though.
It could be
Because
worse.
your coach could be Darvin Ham. Hot buns.
Yeah, that could be. It could be worse. But
Yeah.
I love seeing on the meme, like all the memes on Twitter, and it's like, all the Pelicans like players, coaches, and in like quotations, they're like, "Coach, call a timeout. Like what do we do?" And he's like, "Quit. I'm trying to watch the game. I'm trying to watch the game."
Yeah, guys, I'm trying to watch the game.
Yeah. So, but that will do it here for us today. I mean, I want to thank y'all for always joining me, Raven Freeman and Jaden Smith.
Absolutely.
Another good one in the books.
Woo woo.
I'm Andre Champagne, and this has been
Swifties, don't get your hopes up.
the Hodges Huddle.